Huh? Mm. Actually, no. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo Switch is not a port. It's a brand new ground-up game, and here's why. Welcome everyone, this is Andres Restart, that's Bandana Charmander, and now I'm going to be explaining to you guys why Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is not a port. Now first and foremost, it's already been confirmed by Nintendo that the game is not a port. It's been said that the game is a ground up game that's been in development for years. When a game is being developed ground up, that means that they're building it from scratch. It's not being taken from the Wii U. Now let's define what a port is, okay? Because I think some people are a little bit confused about that. A port is when you take a game that exists on another platform, let's say Doom, that was on PS4 and Xbox One, and then you reformat it to work on another platform. So Doom, when it was ported over to the Nintendo Switch. The game at its core was the same. Sure, they had to rework the graphics a little bit, they added a bit of Switch controls, but that was a really, really good port. But the game, fundamentally, 99.9% of this game was the same. It was the same game, same story, same style, same everything. That's a port. Now, there are some examples of enhanced ports. Let's look at Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is an enhanced port. It's called Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's not even called Mario Kart 8. It's called Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so it has a new branding. So it's an enhanced port. An enhanced port has new content in it. Sure, it has battle mode. The game's been pushed from 720p to 1080p. They added double items, and the frame rate's been slightly improved from 59 frames to 60 frames per second. That's an example of an enhanced port. But it's still a port because the game is fundamentally the same. They took what they had for Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U and they added content to it, but they essentially ported it over to the Nintendo Switch. Now, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the game has been built ground up. It's new code. Every character has been redone, revamped. Aesthetically, they've changed. Mechanically, they've changed. The gameplay as a whole is different. So actually, let's focus on the gameplay right now. So the gameplay of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate arguably is the biggest change we've seen in gameplay for Smash Bros. Since the jump from N64 to GameCube with Super Smash Bros. Melee. So here's the thing, it's impossible for me to go over all the changes. It's been said there's already thousands of changes that have been brought up just in last week, but I'm going to go over some of the main ones in terms of gameplay. There are directional dodges now, you have more defensive shielding techniques, you cannot just blindly dodge all the time, the rolling around. If you do that, you become more vulnerable. So in terms of defense, now your defense, you have to be a lot more tactful with it and more careful, and it's been overall kind of weakened, but offensively, this game has taken a huge jump. Everything is faster, characters do a lot more damage, and especially 1v1, it does even more damage, and when you do land a smash attack, the game slows down for just a second to add a dramatic effect to the game. But there's also a lot of, like, symbols and signs. For example, when someone's launched off the stage, there's actually like a boundary graphic that shows you where you will die and where the stage is, so you have a better understanding of just how close you are to actually dying. But also in 1v1s, there is a scoreboard now, so whenever someone does die, you can see a score. So the game has been built in a way that facilitates tournament play. And most of all, the biggest change that we've seen is that not only is defense been sort of gimped or been made to be more of a tactful sort of thing, and offense has been improved in terms of how hard characters can hit now, but also the game is faster. This is the fastest the game has been since Super Smash Bros. Melee. And if you want to take my word for how different the mechanics of this game are, how about Zero, arguably the best Smash Wii U player in the world? He has probably put more hours into Smash Bros. Wii U than you guys can dream of, and he's saying that the game is fundamentally different in terms of mechanics. He played Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at E3. I'll put a link to his video in the description below so you can get more of his own opinion here. But the point is, gameplay-wise, this game is entirely different. And if the gameplay is different entirely, it's been built from the ground up, what more do you need? Well, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and explain more just to, assert my point here that this game is not a port by any stretch of the imagination. So not only is it entirely new code, and the gameplay is entirely new, but there's a whole bunch of new music. They're going to be adding hundreds of new songs, all newly orchestrated and remixed and redone. There's going to be hundreds of new songs. And then the menu systems are all entirely different. It's not, the UI is completely different from the way it was on the Wii U or the 3DS version. But let's talk about characters and stages, because I know that's what most people are sort of harping on here, and they see a lot of stages from Wii U and 3DS and they're like, oh, see, clearly it's a port. Well, yeah, but there's also a lot of stages from N64, from Melee, from Brawl and 3DS and Wii U and new stages as well. And this is just the initial reveal. We're going to be seeing more characters and stages and modes introduced to us throughout the year. We just got the first reveal, and we already know about over 80 stages and nearly 70 characters already. And the crazy thing is that most of these characters and stages have been changed entirely. If you just look at the stages, look at the 3DS stages, they're basically entirely new stages, because on the 3DS the graphics were 240p, low texture, low poly, low resolution, low lighting, and all of that has been completely redone, so they look like stages that were made for the modern day sort of powerful home console kind of system. And that also counts for Melee stages. Melee stages have been completely redone. Just look at Jungle Japes, look at Bridge of Eldin. Bridge of Eldin, which was originally on Brawl, was remastered and redone on the Wii U, which looked great then, and compared the Wii U version of Bridge of Eldin to the now Smash Bros. Ultimate version of Bridge of Eldin, and the difference is obscene. And that just kind of goes to show you just how much they've changed graphically with this game. The lighting is different, there's more going on in the background, the expressions of the characters is so much, they're far more expressive now, they have a lot more animations going on, the textures are better, and yes, the game's still early, it's not fully done, so some characters, you know, are going to be redone, made to look better. By the time the game comes out, it's going to look even better than it is now, and in most cases, the game looks night and day better than the Wii U version, even though the Wii U is not that much weaker than the Nintendo Switch. Graphics aside, though, and stages aside, though, let's talk about the characters, right? So people are saying, oh, this game doesn't have that many new characters, but consider this. We nearly have 70 characters already, nearly, and 10 of the characters that we know of the roster were characters that were not available on Smash for Wii U and 3DS, and yes, I'm considering DLC characters as well. There are 10 characters that were not in Smash for Wii U or 3DS, whether you had the DLC or not. If you count the DLC, there's so many characters, and each and every character, including characters that have been around for a very long time, have been redone aesthetically. They look different. A lot of them have completely different art styles, like Zelda and Ganondorf, and these characters have revamped movesets. A lot of the characters have their movesets almost seem entirely different, and even if the movesets are only subtle changes, you have to take into consideration that for a game like Smash Bros., when you do a subtle change, they have to rebalance the entire game and see how that one character affects the balance of each and every character. So when you're changing around these characters, there's a lot of work put into just one single character, and here we have like about 68 characters, if I remember correctly, if you count all the clones and echo characters. There is a lot of characters that have been completely redone for this game. So if you take into consideration they're adding a whole bunch of new music, they have completely redone a whole bunch of stages and are adding a whole bunch of new stages. They've completely redone all the characters. The actual UI is different. The gameplay is completely different. It's some of the biggest changes we've seen for Smash games since Melee. And there's even cutscenes in this game, and the entire style of the game is different, and we've only just scratched the surface for what we're getting for this game. And on top of it all, Nintendo has confirmed that this game is a new game. It's not a port. It's built from the ground up, all new code, and it's been in development for years. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is not a port by any stretch of the imagination. Bye.